Hello, BookTube. Who's ready for some more random Hedgehog book recommendations? The answer to that hypothetical question should be nobody. Nobody should be ready for more because I have bombarded you with hundreds, thousands of book recommendations on this channel. More book recommendations than you could ever read. Do you want to end up like me? Nevertheless, you've been pretty much universal in that you want more of these, and I'm happy to oblige. Happy to oblige. So we will start off, again, this will have books in it that you've seen before on this channel, but one or two. It might even have books that you've seen before and Hedgehog book recommendations. Who knows? I've made quite a few of these. But we'll start with Adam Sisman. We've seen him most recently on this channel for his book, The Friendship. But this is his breakout book, Boswell's Presumptuous Task, which is about the whole idea and origin and original execution and original reception of Boswell's Life of Johnson, one of the most famous biographies of them all. It's the history of a book, which I love, but it's also a wonderfully insightful view of the personalities of these two men. It really is, on a shelf of books about Dr. Johnson, this is one that would definitely be on that shelf. Then we have something by Arthur Davison Fick. This is going to be a little bit harder to find, a little bit on the collectible side, but it's so good. It's so good. It will just catch you up. It's Chats on Japanese Prints, where he takes you through hundreds and hundreds of prints over centuries. And actually the title is well chosen. He just talks about them. This is not a history, but it's so charming. It's so incredibly knowledgeable and charming. It's so witty at times. If you're at all interested in Japanese prints, if you're at all interested in them, I know once upon a time Robin Song Reeds was, but he's long gone from BookTube. Another innocent driven off the platform. He's just long gone. They say that his ghost still haunts the the bordello in which his bullet-riddled body was found. As I always say. Now, he's gone, but he was interested in this. He's probably in Japan right now. But this is, if you're at all interested in Japanese prints, this is such a book to have. I don't know how collectible it is. Then we have an older memoir. This is terrific. This is long out of print. I have a soft spot for older memoirs. This is From Pinafores to Politics, and it's by Mrs. J. Borden Harriman. That's the kind of names the women had when they had no right to have even a checking account in their own name. She was a wealthy, a very influential political muckraker behind the scenes, a society muckraker. She lent her money and her voice and her letters of endorsement to a whole bunch of great causes about poor relief and women's rights more than a century ago. And this is much more than, this is not a political biography. This is her life story. And it's wonderful. It's her growing up in a New York that is the Edith Wharton territory. It's long gone. Only written by someone who was queen of that world. Just delightful. I don't know if you'll ever be able to find it, but it's delightful. Then we have something by Charles Mee. This is a work of history. This is Meeting at Potsdam. His shorter than I would like, but still very snappy account of Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin meeting to organize the world in the post-war world. By the time they got to this meeting, all three of them knew that they would win World War II. They knew that World War II was over and wanted to organize the world. What will we do with the world? I myself think that a lot of things that happened at Potsdam were absolute travesties. The enemy of my enemy is my friend is only true as long as my enemy needs to be defeated. Once my enemy is defeated, the enemy of my enemy becomes my enemy. But in any case, this is terrifically readable. So, I mean, there have been many books on Potsdam, but this is one to have if you can find it. Then something a little more modern. I believe this was on one of my celebrated year-end lists. This is Jack Shanker's book, The Egyptians. An absolutely riveting account of Egypt post-Mubarak. The overthrow of a dictator and then the utter political and military chaos of Egypt that followed. The real thing here is not so much the lack of partisan blinders, although I think this book has no partisan blinders. It's the readability. That seems to be the common thread for a lot of books this time around on the Hedgehog book recommendation. This is just incredibly readable. It will catch you up, if you're like most Americans, for instance, most American readers, this will catch you up on events that you know almost nothing about. But real people were at the heart of those events, and real concepts like slavery and freedom. So, well worth your time to find a copy, and unlike a lot of the other things I'm mentioning here, this one's probably findable at your library. Then we have, this is an older book. I don't know that this is in print. I'm sure that it isn't in print anymore, but it is fascinating. And also, in an odd way, as a side note, it will really appeal to book lovers. And this is Odyssey of a Friend. It's correspondence between Whittaker Chambers and William F. Buckley. William F. Buckley founded the National Review famously, and Whittaker Chambers was an editor there for a long time. But Whittaker Chambers also had a far greater moment in the limelight through his confrontation, his very public confrontation with Alger Hiss. And Whittaker Chambers also wrote a great book, which, unless we make an exception for God and Man at Yale, William F. Buckley never did. And very much knew he never did, very much wanted to, and knew that he never did. Whereas Whittaker Chambers did. And also, I don't want to use this or any other opportunity to crap all over the memory of Bill Buckley, but you can see in these letters a lot of the personal dynamic between these two men. I think William F. Buckley knew perfectly well that Whittaker Chambers had a kind of courage that he, William F. Buckley, would never have and wanted to have and pretended that he had. Liked to pretend that he had. The real version of the kind of courage that Norman Mailer used to imitate all the time and went to his grave believing that he possessed. Norman Mailer was a stupid, trembling coward, an idiot. He did not have any courage at all, of any kind. He just liked to lie about it, that's all. But listening to these two write about the politics of the day is fascinating, but even more fascinating is that they're always talking about books, which makes this volume just so much fun to read. Again, following with that trend. Now, this next one's going to buck that trend just a little because it's extremely scholarly. But I love that sort of thing, and I think once you get accustomed to scholarly history or biography, as opposed to popular history or biography, once you get used to scholarly history or biography, once you get used to the way that it moves around, the way that it presents itself, you will start to see two things. One, that it's easy to tell the good stuff from the bad stuff. And two, that the good stuff is really electrifyingly readable. It's just a totally different set of muscles. So if you're reading Dorothy Highsmith or, Agatha Christie or something like that, or science fiction, and you come to scholarly history or biography, it's going to daunt you at first, but once you get used to its patois, oh my, is it good. And this is a perfect example of that. This is Sharon O'Brien's biography of Willa Cather. There have been other Willa Cather biographies that have been really, really good, but this one, there's never been one better than this. But this is the real deal. This is the oats and horseradishes, as an old friend of mine used to say. This is, Peter Hitchens, Christopher Hitchens' brother, in a different context, referring to a different book, used the term clear mountain air history. And that's what this is. This is a magnificent scholarly biography of Willa Cather, who led such a fascinating life that you're going to be interested in anyway. Let's go back to Japan. This is also a lovely book. Probably hard to find these days, but absolutely wonderful. Like the Fic book, it is so chatty and knowledgeable that you just relax in it, especially if you like the subject. This is Renaissance in Japan. It's about the art and writing of 17th century Japan, and it's by Kenneth Kirkwood. It's a lovely little thing that concentrates on three artistic figures. In such a, there are so many other people name-checked and described in this book, but it's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And the chapter, The Long Consideration of Saikaku, is amazing, just amazing, in a way that I've never seen before or since in English. I can only weep with FOMO for the scholarship in Japanese that I must be missing because I cannot read Japanese. What I must be missing of stuff that nobody even thinks about translating into English. Oh, the biographies, the poetic studies, what I must be missing. But This comes close. I'll take this. This is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. On those three Titanic figures, but also on the whole of the artistic scene in the 17th century. Just amazing. And then we can finish up with something that is a little bit odd as a Hedgehog recommendation, for me anyway. And I'm gonna have to step carefully. The book is Dogmatic Theology by William Shedd. This is a huge hardcover edited by Alan Gomes. And the reason I have to step carefully is because Shedd was brilliant. He was a brilliant Calvinist. He wrote Dogmatic Theology in multiple volumes. This is a great big volume, collecting those and carefully, lovingly curating them. Brushing and sanding off the rough edges. The critical apparatus in this thing is amazing. The introduction is amazing. This is the kind... That's why I'm recommending this, because this is the kind of scholarly edition of an older work of whatever. In this case, not biography or history, but theology. This is a perfect example of how to do that magnificently. And so I can wholeheartedly recommend this book along those lines if you are into theology, if you're into systematic theology, if you're a Calvinist or some branch thereof, if you like reading this sort of thing, this is a brilliant example. No idea how available this is. It could be that it's really expensive. Books like Boswell's Presumptuous Task will not be really expensive, even secondhand. Some of the books that I'm mentioning here are probably rarer than others. They might be trickier in terms of your wallet. But if you're interested in this book on those headings, oh my God, you'll never do better. Never. It's amazing. The reason that I have to step carefully is because this is Bullfinch's mythology. There is no such thing as theology is just nonsense. It's dogmatic, systematic, extensive, annotated, whatever adjective you want to use. It's about nothing. It's about nothing. There are no gods. There are no goblins. So this is literally a gigantic edifice of a book built on nothing. That doesn't bother me the way it used to. Once upon a time, that was scorched earth for me. It doesn't. Nowadays, whether it's something like this or the Sonsino Chumash or whatever it is, some extensive commentary in English on the Quran, it doesn't bother me as much anymore. Actually, the Sonsino Chumash never bothered me. It's just brilliant from start to finish. Anyway, but these innumerable gigantic books written on something that isn't real, that doesn't exist. I used to hate them a lot. And then I hated them a little, and now I don't hate them at all. Now I view them as just the Silmarillion. And therefore I can look at the mind at work, and Shedd had an amazing mind. So I do actually recommend this, even though it's about nothing. There's a study called theology, but there is no object at the heart of that study. There are no goblins. There is no supernatural element to existence. So all of this is built on nothing, but still, if you're into this sort of thing, as I often go through periods where I am, oh my, what a book to find. So there you go. Some Hedgehog book recommendations for you for a boiling hot Wednesday. I will wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.